Hello, everybody. I'm just getting you all logged in here. Hello, hello. Letting everybody in. Let me put my glasses on. Hello, hello. Hello, everybody. For those of you that came out and made it to the trade show yesterday, thank you. It was wonderful seeing you and meeting you. That was awesome. Anna, you are my hero. Thank you. I appreciate you very much. And I have a funny story to tell you. Hi, Victor. Hi, everybody. The trade show yesterday was awesome. I hope you guys obtained a lot of information and got a new list of vendors to help you with your day-to-day operations. There was quite a few of them there. And hopefully you learned a couple things at the trade show. Hi, and thank you, Anna. I got a funny story. So, I got a gift yesterday at the trade show, and I didn't recognize the person that dropped the gift off. I don't know what any of you guys look like because I don't see you. I just talked to you. I just know your name on here, or I know your problem. So I thought it was odd because I don't get gifts. Okay, I just don't. It's just me. So when I get one, it really hits home. But at the trade show, all I kept thinking to myself was, what's in the box? Is it a ticking time bomb? Why would somebody leave it? I just go into panic mode of the worst case scenario. So all day at the trade show, I kept looking at the box going, I wonder what's in there. I wonder what's in there. It was a very wonderful gift. I thank you very much. Mwah! You're my hero. But it was just funny because all day it created anxiety for me because property manager for so many years, I'm like, what's in the box? What's in the box? What's in the box? Is it a bomb? Is it going to blow up? Is it something gross? Because it's just the way we think as property managers, right? So again, thank you, Anna. Mwah, you're my hero. But it was very funny. It caused a bit of anxiety. I loved it. It's awesome. All right, you guys. Okay, no problem. I was there. Thank you guys for coming. Oh, so today, do we have questions? Do we have questions? Anybody? I'm hilarious. I try to be. I try to be. You know, I will tell you, shoot them, it's faster. I try to be.
It was really nice seeing you yesterday.
Oh, thank you. I really try to do things that are humorous to take light of the situation, because what we deal with on a daily basis is very depressing when you really think it is. So if you can find the humor in it and laugh about the things we should be crying over, then it kind of makes it a little bit easier to swallow, a little bit easier to deal with. And thank goodness they can't put us on trial for our thoughts. Okay. Oh, yes. And here comes all more questions. Did you record the presentation for us? I did record it. I got home late last night. You guys wouldn't believe this if I told you, but I was the last one to speak at the trade show. Very last one. And you get people that follow you and have additional questions, which is normal. Security kicked them out. Then they followed us over to our booth. Security continued to kick people out. So we went ahead and packed up our stuff and went to the restroom and got our water bottles ready for the long drive home and exited the trade show only to find more people there with additional questions that were waiting for us. That has never happened to me before. I thought it was awesome. Thank you guys. I appreciate all your support and your questions because they remind me that I'm doing something good. If people still have questions, I'm doing the right thing. You know, they're thinking about what was said and it's starting a fire with them. So thank you for that. And I'm going to tell all of you the same exact thing I told everybody in the trade show. If you haven't taken a fair housing class this year, we're already 6 months into the year, folks. Everybody should be taking a fair housing class at least once a year. I stress this. I can't stress this enough. Fair housing is where you learn how this is kind of going to go and what rights the tenants have and what you can and can't do. And it helps you think about things from the other side of the fence. Okay, it lets you know what your exposure level is. I highly suggest and recommend that everybody take a fair housing training course at least once a year. They also tell you about trends in the industry and what's happening. You learn a lot more than you think you would. It's not just fair housing, if you will. They're actually extremely helpful. Remember, fair housing helps landlords and tenants. They are a dual neutral agency until you do something wrong and piss them off. And then it becomes a HUD case, housing and development. But if you can do that, it's just such a much better business practice.
Oh,
Bear with me, I am letting people in.
who's calling?
Clifford, I can hear you. You want to press mute or you want me to mute you? All right, anybody have any questions?
It's not a question, but I think you told us a while ago that when the tenant, come and then they said, oh, you know what, I want to get this one fixed. So I'm gonna send, somebody to come here. I'm gonna pay myself. And then I want you, to deduct, deduct from the rents. Yes. And then it happened this morning. I got a text from one of the tenant, and then she said, there is a leak with the water heater, and then she didn't report it to me anything at all. And she said, there's a leak with the water heater, like 10 days ago, and she had the gas company to come to check, and then finally, they called, the water heater company, and then it's still under warranty, but the installation and, it's not, a part of the warranty. So she wanted, to have a Home Depot to install it, the new one, and then she asked me to deduct from the rent, $700 to $800. And luckily, you mentioned this one a while ago on your webinar, and I said, well, you didn't report to me about this, so I like to take over this one, and please don't have the Home Depot to install or anything.
You don't have my permission to have any work done without my permission, and you never told me that the water heater was broken. Now that I know it's broken, I will take care of it. Thank you.
Okay, that's a good word to say it. I'm sorry. I need to learn a lot of things from you. Patty, is this for me? Something is new. I was like, what should I say? And you kept telling me, even though yesterday at the webinar at the expo, you kept saying, don't even say the absolutes. I was like, okay, I have to remind myself so many times about this.
Yes, not speaking in absolutes and not writing in absolutes. You absolutely can't give the wrong answer. Thank you for bringing to my attention that there was a problem with the water heater. This is the first I'm hearing about this. Now that I've been made aware, I'll contact my workman and he'll come out there and fix it. I'm not giving you permission to do anything.
That's good. That's good. Okay.
Okay.
I learn about that. Thank you so much. Thank you.
So remember this, from the day she told you that there was a problem, she doesn't owe rent. Hot water is a habitability issue.
Okay.
Remember we talked about that yesterday.
Yes.
Hot water is most definitely a habitability issue. So from the day she told you there's a problem, she doesn't owe the rent until you fix it. Okay?
Okay. Okay.
Don't forget that. That's important.
Okay. Yeah, I need to call the plumber, to take care of this one.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Remember when I said fix it yesterday, don't wait until tomorrow? It's because the day she told you there was a problem, she doesn't owe rent from that day until it's fixed.
Okay.
And I know today she's been dealing with this for a week. That's her problem. She didn't have permission to deal with this. She should have notified you. She didn't do her job. Her job is notify you, not to hire somebody, not to go to Home Depot, not to find out if it's under warranty or not. Her job is to notify you. So you need to train your tenant that she did wrong by not notifying you. And the way that we're going to do that is she's not going to get a rent credit for the whole week she's been having no hot water because she didn't tell you.
Okay. So she texted me on the phone. So I just, texted her back. So that's when I have enough, proof to protect myself. In any case, in the future, she have an issue, not paying rent.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Bingo, you've got it figured out. You're doing just fine. Okay, let me go.
You taught me. So that's why, I learned a lot from you, really. Thank you so much.
No, thank all of you guys. You guys make me feel so warm and fuzzy inside when you learn something and you get it, because it actually, I can see the wheels turning in your head and you're understanding what I'm trying to explain to you. And please know, I'm just trying to protect you and your investment. It's how I'm wired.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Okay, let me see. I saw a bunch of stuff coming through the chat while we were yakking. I'm hilarious. Thank you. Did you record? Yes, I did. I'll have them put it up on the website. Honestly, we talked about fogging techniques. We talked about taking a fair housing course. I can't emphasize that enough. You guys will learn so much of how this all works just by taking one fair housing class. Trust me. And I do it every year so that I stay current with the trends and what's happening in the industry. We talked about how to save money with your legal counsel by serving the notice yourself. Sometimes you can offset some expenses by doing that. Yeah, we talked about a few things, but I will get that up on the website. Just give me a chance. It was a long day and a long drive home. Do we have a list to show what property management responsibility to fix and what is tenant's responsibility to fix in San Bernardino County? The tenant doesn't have a responsibility to fix anything unless they broke it. I hope that made sense for you, Danielle. So anything that's a habitability issue, the landlord has to fix. As it's cosmetics, then it might not necessarily need to be fixed, but habitability issues, repairs, maintenance, that all falls on the landlord, not on the tenant. Okay. Oh, thank you. You guys are also awesome. Is it still a 60-day notice? Is it still 60-day notice for a cause eviction in San Bernardino? David, I'm not sure what you're asking. If you want to do a cause eviction, it depends on what the cause is. If it's non-payment of rent, that's a 3-day notice. If it's a curable breach of covenant, also a 3-day notice. If it's a quit notice, that's also a 3-day notice. So I'm just not sure what you're asking. If you have a cause eviction, you can do a 3-day if you have cause, depending on what the cause is. Kern County.
What I meant, I'm sorry, what I meant is if they breach a contract and you say, okay, now I give you 60 days to leave without taking them to court initially, is that okay?
Not really. Let me explain. If you serve them a cure or quit notice and then you take rent after it, you void your notice.
No, what I mean, they breach a contract and I'm giving them 60-day notice explaining why they have to leave. Before it was no cause. We could have given a 60-day notice to leave. Now that they require a cause, I say 60-day notice to move out because of blah, blah, blah.
Well, what is the blah, blah, blah? Because if it's something they're doing wrong in a material breach of the lease, it would be a 3-day curable breach of covenant and then a quit notice behind it, not 60 days.
Well, you know, in Section 8, we give 90 days to move out because, for example, they're not paying.
Funded program.
Yes. Now, for non-Section 8, I was under the impression that, for example, if they are continuously doing things that are not up to the contract, like paying late or not letting us know they have a pet in there, or, for example, bringing people beyond the number of visits allowed per year, things that are like that, I put as a cause and telling them that now you got 60 days to leave. If after 60 days you don't leave, then I'll send them to the lawyer. That would be my understanding.
Okay, if you have cause and they're bringing in illegal people, that's a 3-day cure or quit, not a 60-day. A 60-day notice is the owner wants their house back, you have 60 days to vacate. If you have somebody that's doing something that is a material breach of the lease, then it's a 3-day notice, not a 60-day notice. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You don't have to do a 60-day, you could do a 3-day. And then if they don't comply in 3 days, you could do a quit notice and then start the eviction in 6 days instead of 60. I hope that
Yeah.
makes sense to you.
Yes, it does. But what I was trying to do, I was trying to see if they leave voluntarily, so we don't have to do eviction and save some money. A lot of them, after you give a 60-day notice, they do leave. That's what I'm trying to.
I understand and I agree with you. Yes. But I don't, you could give them a 60-day. Okay. In San Bernardino County, is it exempt from the Tenant Protection Act? The TPA?
Well, starting, we passed end of March. I assume that it is okay now to give it.
Okay. Did you notify them back in 2020 that you were exempt from statewide rent control?
No, we are not exempt. I mentioned that we are not exempt.
Oh, that's what I needed to know. So you still can't terminate tenancy even in San Bernardino County unless you have cause. That
Well,
doesn't
that's-
start until July 1st, when the
Yeah,
state
okay.
law ends.
Okay, let's say after July 1st, I can start doing the 60-day notices as I
Bingo.
mentioned before.
Now you can, yes. Outside of LA County, yes.
Okay, now I
Okay.
understand. Yes.
I
thank
got you. Now we're on the same page, sir. It took me a while to get there. I apologize. Yesterday was a long day.
Thank you, Patty.
No problem. Kern County evicting a tenant. Now tenant is begging to stay and asking how much to pay. I already texted him that I've turned this over to my legal teams. If he keeps testing, what else do I say? I don't even want to answer it. I feel like saying too late, Buster. You pretty much are saying too late, Buster, by I'm sorry, I can't help you. This is in the hands of my legal team, but let him know the only thing that I can do to help you now is if you vacate and give me the keys, I'll stop the eviction. The reality of that is you have to. Evictions for possession. So you'll dismiss the eviction against him if he gets out. There is no amount of money to pay. We're done here. Property is in the city of LA and under RSO. I'm so sorry. Tenant uses her apartment to do business by bringing the client's dogs and having the dogs stay in the apartment with her. What proof do I need to have for an eviction in the future? Dates, times, and witnesses. Dates, times, and witnesses. You want to show that this is an ongoing issue, that she's using the property to run a business and not for residential purposes, which is why you rented it to her. Okay, so dates, times, witnesses. If you get pictures of video cameras of her bringing different dogs in and them leaving all groomed with bows in their hair, through your surveillance cameras, because you don't have security cameras because you don't provide security. So don't use that word, use surveillance. That might help assist you. But days, times, witnesses, curable breach of covenants for running a business in a residential dwelling without permission of the landlord. Want me to keep going? Does she have a license from the city to do what she's doing? Because if she doesn't, then they could come down on you. Okay?
Just real quick, Patty.
Yes, who am I talking
You
to?
have some people in your waiting room.
Oh, thank you. I love you guys for telling me this. I keep looking, I'm letting them in. Here they come. Thank you, you guys. I'm sorry you were in the waiting room waiting. I apologize. I get stuck on that list that tells me all the questions that you guys have and I don't check back. I'm sorry. But I got a team of people that help me, so I appreciate that. I'm sorry I didn't let you in right away. You're in here now. Welcome. Okay, Anna. Thank you, Anna. You're my hero. Mwah. I didn't mean to scare you with the box. Girl, it's all good. It's all good. It was so funny. It was so funny. Oh, and I did it to Val. I'm sorry. Oh, thank you. it was so funny to me because my first reaction is to go back into landlord tenant. Okay. And when it comes to landlord tenant, I worked in a property management company. We'd have people bring us pies they baked and food that they made, and we didn't eat it. We didn't touch it. So it was our maintenance guy would come in and go, "Oh, I'll take it." We're like, "Yeah, go ahead. It's all you, buddy," because we're not, no. So I immediately went into that mode and I'm like, okay, it's not ticking. It's not going to blow up. It just doesn't smell bad. So it was more humorous than anything else. It ignited those memories I have of being a property manager and dealing with tenants on a daily basis, you know? So thank you for that. It kept me on my toes. It was hilarious. And then when I finally opened it, I cried. Your card was so sweet. And just so everybody knows, that was from it felt like she said everybody, because she just kept referencing how much she appreciates all that I do for everybody and all landlords. And that really touches me. So thank you for that, Anna. I appreciate you. Mwah. And anytime you want to scare me like that, you go right ahead. Keeps me on my toes. Ivana, the lease agreement doesn't have the pet addendum. She doesn't have her own pet. She's a dog walker and a sitter. The previous property manager didn't tell me about this tenant's job. Okay, pull out your written rental contract. Does it say that they're renting, and it's probably in the first 4 sentences on there, that they're renting this property for residential purposes? Because if it does, then how's she running a business out of the residential property? Makes sense? Hope that clicks with you. G. Jones, thank you. San Bernardino County. I have a tenant whose Section 8 ended in January of 2022. She's now late on her May 2022 rent. One reason she is late is that her 19-year-old daughter recently moved out to live with her boyfriend. The daughter's income was being used to help pay the rent. It was also used in the total family income calculation with Section 8. Do you think serving her former Section 8 worker a copy of the 3-day notice to pay rent will help influence her worker to reinstate her back into the Section 8 program again? No, in fact, they won't even acknowledge the notice if they're no longer their clients. I hope that made sense. So serve the 3-day, start the eviction, serve it for everybody that's named in your rental contract. So if the daughter's named on the rental contract, you're going to name her too. I hope that made sense. Okay, any other programs besides Housing is Key that help tenant pay landlord directly? I know Senate Bill 837, and I'm honest, I haven't looked at it in about 2 weeks. That was going on. They do have a mortgage relief program through Housing is Key that helps landlords pay their mortgages if the tenants aren't complying with the program. And I know there's other programs out there. It depends on what county you're in. I know United Lift has a program. I know there's other programs available other than Housing is Key that may be able to help assist you. Val, I see that poo pie, and that's what I was thinking. And it wasn't. It was a wonderful, wonderful, lovely, thoughtful gift. But yeah, you sit there and wonder for a hot minute of what's this and what happened. But no, I was truly, truly thankful. And yesterday was a busy day for me, you guys. I'm still trying to recuperate. I don't have any blisters on my feet. And I didn't sit down once all day until we got in the car. And then I couldn't get out of the car because I sat for 2 whole hours. I'm getting old. Unfortunately, it's happening to me. My kids tease me. They say, if you keep your mind sharp, we'll deal with your body falling apart. I'm like, okay, great. Thanks. I feel so much better now. All right. Do we have more questions? And I will post, I did go live on Facebook for like 2 minutes, just kind of showing the amount of people and the booths and everything that was there. And then I will put that up. I'll try to email it over to my IT guide today so you guys can see what happened at the trade show. We had a few questions and answers afterwards. But for the most part, it was pretty standard. It was just like one of our classes. I think anybody that attended would agree. Trying to get everybody focused on doing their fair housing, not speaking in absolute terms, not writing in absolute terms, and using your fogging techniques. Just trying to get you guys to err on the side of caution and not expose yourself to unnecessary issues. Okay. And I'll leave my statement that close. For people in LA County that are having their houses held hostage against them, I'm sorry. It sucks. If you don't get the answer you want from your legal counsel, call a different attorney. No joke. It's all into what they're willing to argue in a courtroom. So if your attorney says no, go find a different attorney. If that attorney says no, go find a different attorney. If you find one that says yes, then they're willing to argue it. And that's all that it comes down to, is what an attorney is willing to argue for you in a court of law. I mean, let's face it, that's what it is. So if you don't find the answer you want, keep shopping. And don't ask the enemy for legal advice. It doesn't make sense. Example, LARSO, that's not your friend. Housing is key, not your friend. The County of Los Angeles, not your friend. Okay? Please remember that. We are the minority. They may intentionally tell us things to set us up for failure. I'm serving a 3-day quit, not curable. This will be war. The code enforcer sent violations to me. The newest letter was a 30-day notice and an order to abate. Obviously, I'm not giving her 30 days, but I need to give her this notice. Yes, you can do it in a 3-day quit, but you want to attach all your curable breaches that you did prior to. So if I remember correctly, this is the pig lady, for lack of a better way to explain it. And you served a 3-day curable breach of covenant to get rid of the pigs. You want to include that notice in her quit notice, because the city violation says very clearly that there are still pigs at the property. So she didn't correct that. So we gave her a curable to do that. We want to attach that to the quit notice so that we can show that we gave her the opportunity to correct this in the past, and yet she chose not to. And now we're asking her to quit because of it. I hope that makes sense. So we're going to attach the curable notice that we served her, the 24-hour that we served behind that, to see if she got rid of the animals, which she did, or she explained that she did, but she didn't, because there's still pigs there. But it's kind of like one notice that attaches all the other notices to that one notice. If that makes sense. So it shows the judge everything that's happened thus far. And we'll get into detail about that. I'll give you a call a little bit later. Okay, Val? Okay. I did not serve a 24-hour notice, but the tenant said photos and said she got rid of the pigs. So we're going to include that with the quit notice. Well, you know, I don't want to get into the pig story too much, because I got my own pig story and it's pretty bad. They stink, you guys, just so you know. Ivana. One tenant has just moved in last month. As of now, the tenant and previous property manager don't give me a copy of the renter's insurance, as it is required from the lease agreement. What should I do? One tenant, I got to read it again. Just hang on. One tenant just moved in last month, and as of now, the tenant and the previous property manager did not give me a copy of the renter's insurance as required on the lease agreement. What can I do? You can serve a 3-day curable breach of covenant regarding that insurance clause in your written contract. Okay. So if your lease agreement or the lease agreement that you received says that they must have renter's insurance and whatever the thing is, then you're going to serve a 3-day curable breach of covenant to show you that they have that. Okay. I hope that made sense. A 3-day curable breach of covenant is also known as a cure or quit notice. Tomato, tomato, it's the same thing. It just, whatever they want to call it. For slang and property management, we call it a cure or quit, but the legal description is called a 3-day curable breach of covenant. Even though it's in LARSO, I believe we can serve a covenant notice in LARSO. I would check with legal counsel, but I'm pretty sure you can serve a covenant notice in LARSO right now.
I have a question, Patty.
Okay, who am I talking to?
Danielle.
Okay,
So I have a tenant in San Bernardino County who has a broken AC. It was broken as of the 2nd of this month. And we're putting in a new one on the 1st of next month. The tenant is wondering if we have to give them half of the rent off for June. Did we miss our 30-day time frame?
first things first. In the city, is AC a habitability issue?
No.
Thank you. So once it went over 30 days, it became a habitability issue.
Okay.
And it is only right for you to give them a credit until it's corrected after 30 days.
Okay.
So you said it was out for a whole 30 days?
Yeah, it's been out since the 2nd and we're replacing it on the 1st.
So it was corrected within 30 days?
So it will be corrected within 30 days.
So it's not a habitability issue until it goes over 30 days.
Okay.
So unfortunately, we're sorry for the inconvenience. I'm going to talk fast, so take
Yeah.
notes, okay? You ready?
Yes.
Unfortunately, we apologize for the inconvenience. It's not a habitability issue within the city, so no rent credit is required. Now, as a courtesy, you may want to give them a discounted rent for the inconvenience.
Okay.
That usually calms them down. They're asking for half the month. It's up to you what you want to offer. As a rule of thumb, as an inconvenience, I would always do 25%.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Patty.
Inconvenience courtesy. Okay.
Okay.
It's a courtesy inconvenience you're willing to give them. It could be a set dollar amount. It could be $100. It's whatever you feel. And it's kind of like telling them, I'm not required to do this, but I'm going to do this as as good faith.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah.
And they're asking for half the rent. I don't want to say that's excessive or it's not excessive. Let me say it to you this way. How would you feel if you didn't have AC for a month? See? So that's the better mindset to take with it when you approach the owner.
Okay.
Okay. Of, hey, they're asking for half the month off the next month's rent. They didn't have AC. It's not a habitability issue, but I did want to offer them a courtesy because can you imagine if you didn't have AC for a month? I'm at that age where I have hot flashes. I can't imagine not having AC for an hour, let alone a month. I'm just saying. So everybody's different, but I would definitely offer some kind of a inconvenience credit to them just to appease the situation and tone it down so they don't get feisty and want to go fight, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. Sometimes we got to pay them to be quiet, kind of. You know? All right. In San Bernardino County, same tenant who's late on the rent recently got a dog without my knowledge and permission. The HOA sent me a warning letter about the dog not being on the lease, which is how I learned about the presence of a dog. How should I deal with the dog if I'm temporary I'm temporarily looking the other way. Once you have notice, you need to react. So if the HOA notified you, you need to notify them about unauthorized pets in the property, because until you're told it's an emotional support animal, it's not an emotional support animal, it's a pet. So I'd ask them, you know, the HOA brought to my attention that you have a pet in the property, and per your lease agreement, you can't have one. So you could give them a 3-day curable breach of covenant to remove the unauthorized pet. Usually when you do that is when they notify you that it's an emotional support animal. You could also ask them if they'd like to have that pet, that you would allow it with a pet addendum and additional deposit. It just depends on what your intentions are, what the landlord's wanting to do. You have several options. Whenever somebody has a pet in a property, you can either add the pet to the written rental contract, ask for an additional deposit for the pet. You can make them get rid of the pet. You have options. It depends on what you want to do. Okay. So don't look the other way. The HOA sent you a notice. You need to react. You have notice when the HOA notified you. That's how you know. So you need to react. React upon notification. Okay. Where does 30-day come for the habitability issue? From where does 30 days come from the habitability issue? What is a reasonable time to fix things? 30 days? Okay. I'm going to make this simple for you. Okay. Forgive me. But when it comes to unauthorized pets in a property, or anything that needs to be repaired, like the AC or something like that. Okay, let's go with the repairs, something that's broken. If it is not a habitability issue, okay, and it doesn't breach the warranty to provide a habitable premises, and I'll give you an example. The air conditioner is an amenity in that city. They don't have an ordinance stating that is a requirement. So because it's not a requirement, it is an amenity. Okay, think of it like a swimming pool, if you will. It's an amenity. So if we don't fix the amenity within 30 days, it can become a habitability issue if it goes over 30 days. Okay, a habitability issue needs to be corrected upon notification because the tenant doesn't owe rent until it's corrected. So if that were a hot water heater, I would say fix it yesterday. Don't wait until tomorrow, because until it's fixed, the tenant doesn't owe rent. If it's a cracked window, until it's fixed, the tenant doesn't owe rent. That's why we need to know what's a habitability issue and what's not. Habitability issues are detrimental to our business. We don't get paid if we have them going on. We don't get paid until we fix them. So some things can become a habitability issue if they're not corrected within 30 days. I hope that makes sense to you. I'll probably do a pet addendum and additional addendum. Okay. Yeah, it's your choice of what you want to do. You can encourage them to have the pet, sign the paperwork, ask for an additional deposit, yada, yada. Or they're going to tell you it's an emotional support animal and then you can't do a whole lot. Remember, an emotional support animal is an assistive device for a disabled person, very similar to a wheelchair. So anytime somebody says they have an emotional support animal, immediately think of that as a wheelchair. And when you're asking yourself those questions, just ask them, could I do that for a wheelchair? If the answer is no, then you can't do it for an emotional support animal either. Okay, it's an assistive device for a disabled person. Simply said, just like a wheelchair. Kern County, most of my homes run on evaporated coolers, not AC. Everybody knows an evaporated cooler is also known as a swamp cooler, and it runs off of water. And I'm just saying this out loud so that people understand. These don't work in heavy, humid areas. So at the beach, swamp coolers don't work. They work in the desert because it adds humidity to the air. If it's already humid, a swamp cooler won't work. If it goes over 100 degrees, The swamp cooler won't work, okay? So it gets frustrating. Every summer I get dozens of complaints that it's too hot. Coolers don't work over 90 degrees. I agree. Sad for them, but not an uninhabitable issue, even though it gets over 100 degrees some days. Curious if this okay. Heat waves are increasing. All you can do is keep watching city code enforcement and making sure that they don't make AC a habitability issue or cooling a habitability issue. And I used to manage a lot of property in the high desert area, Victorville, Apple Valley, Barstow. The city of Barstow has an ordinance about AC units, but for the high desert area, Apple Valley, Hesperia, Victorville, they do not have an ordinance at this time. Only the city of Barstow, okay? So the city of Barstow has an ordinance where AC is a habitability issue. In other cities where it's not an issue and it's not functioning properly, apologize to them considerably. Let them know that they can go to their mall. They can do other things, that the unit that is there is working to the best of its ability. It is what it does is it cools down air. Sometimes they don't work out when it gets over 100 degrees. But you're not required to provide AC in the house. So the swamp cooler is there as an amenity, but it is not AC. They work differently, okay? So it is there to help, but it doesn't always help. And I used to run into this left, right, and sideways, and that's why we discussed something that's not a habitability issue becoming a habitability issue. In your particular case, the unit is there and it is functioning to the best of its ability, but it is not an AC unit. It is a swamp cooler, and it does its job just fine when it has the right operating temperatures, okay? I saw something else go through, so let me go grab it. Do you know if AC is a habitability issue in the city of San Bernardino? I do not. You would have to call code enforcement in city of San Bernardino and ask city of San Bernardino's code enforcement if AC is a habitability issue within the city. Everybody got that? That's how you find out. You call code enforcement and ask them if air conditioning is required within the city and if it's a habitability issue, okay? And a lot of times they'll say, oh no, we can't give you legal advice, so just rephrase your question. Is air conditioning a requirement in your city? Okay, because they may say, oh, we can't give you legal advice, so just rephrase your question, take out the word habitability, and ask them if air conditioning is a requirement within the city, okay? Because sometimes they will say that, oh, we don't give legal advice here, we can't help you, sorry. And well, let me rephrase my question, because this isn't legal advice. Okay, so that's how you get out of that one, just so you know. And then something else came through, let me go look. Yeah, okay, awesome. Does anybody have anything else that they want to talk about, discuss? Anything weird? Nothing? Okay, I'll wait just a couple minutes. There's
Yes,
smoke.
Patty, I have
Okay.
one.
Go ahead.
I know a tenant who's hiding his dog in the bedroom and never allows us to go to the bedroom, even to do the pest control. Basically, he's hiding it. And how do I go around this issue?
Take a deep breath and listen to what I'm saying, okay? You got it?
Right.
Deep breath. If you have a notice to enter and you've placed a notice to enter, you can enter in the whole house. If they're not allowing you entry into one room, then they're failing to allow entry. And that would be a 3-day curable breach of covenant for failing to allow entry.
That's what I thought. I wanted to hear from you.
Okay, I get where you're coming from. I know what's happening. We're not stupid. I get you, okay? And one of the other things that you can do when that happens, and don't laugh at me, okay? I did this once. I knew they had a dog and they were hiding it in the garage and they wouldn't let me go in the garage. So do you know what I did? I started barking like a dog. Guess what? The dog started barking back at me.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you.
Then I just looked at him, went, oh, that's kind of funny, don't you think? Okay. It's a nice way to let them know you've been caught. I mean, come on. Do you know a property manager that barks randomly? I'm that person. But yes, it did happen. And I said, oh, it sounds like you have a dog in there. Might want to get rid of that when I come back with my next notice. But yes, there's things that you can do. I'm trying to make it funny, but yeah. And then dates, times, and witnesses. So if neighboring residents see this dog, dates, times, and witnesses. Arlene, come on. You know you do it too. Just start barking like a dog and see if they respond. If they don't, the tenant's gonna think you're some kind of crackhead. That's okay. Tenants think we're crackheads anyway. It's okay. Sorry. I thought it was funny too. Security returns. Oh, this is your smoking house. Okay. My smoker tenants left. It's been about 2 weeks and I'm still addressing the stink. But now I to address my 21 days. There was a disagreement on the amount of security deposit since I don't have their original rental agreement. Even if the deposit was $1,600 or $1,700, there's much more damage than that. So what do I say on their disposition? On their disposition of security deposit, put down the security deposit amount that you acknowledge and you know is there. If say that they paid more, the burden of proof actually falls on them, not on you. Okay, so they would have to prove that they gave you more. We're talking about a discrepancy of $100. It's really not that big deal. You know what I mean? But the burden of proof falls on the tenant, just so everybody knows. Burden of proof regarding payment falls on the tenant. So acknowledge the part that you know that you have. If it's $1,600 that you know, then that's what you're going to do. You're coming up on your 21 days. If you don't have it all fixed yet, then right at the very top of your disposition of security deposit, estimated. And then get some estimates in there. Estimate high if you get all the work done. Just make sure those are estimates. They're high estimates, and send out your disposition on day 21 as an estimated disposition of security deposit, not a final disposition of security deposit. Okay. Hope that helps. Because that buys time. Damage will be over $10,000. They moved to Texas. Doubt I could sue them anyway. You never know. I'm just saying, your judgment against them would be good for 10 years, and then you can renew it for another 10, which is a total of 20. If they ever try to buy a house, they may try to get that off their credit report. We see that quite a bit, just so you guys know. And the other thing is, if they come back to California at any time in that 20 years, completely enforceable. If anything owed is rents during the COVID pandemic, then you should be able to cross. Oh no, it's consumer debt. Hold on, because a new law just came out about this. Hold on a minute. I'm trying to remember in my blonde brain. Now you guys are going to see my thinking cap. Go on. I might even have to get up and start pacing. If you ever see me do that, that's what I'm doing, is I'm coming up with a plan. Hold on. I just saw through. Oh, I know. It can't be consumer debt anymore that crosses state lines. The reason being is that a debt collector has to be a registered debt collector, and landlords are not registered debt collectors. Therefore, it cannot be considered consumer debt. It does not cross state lines. That's what they determined. And you can hire someone to collect it that is a debt collector. So it is They said in the beginning of COVID that it was non-transferable, meaning you couldn't give it to somebody to collect it for you. They have now determined that yes, you can. Yes. You can. So you can now hire a collection agency can take that and run with it. And just so you guys know, Fast Evictions, full service collection agency. And I'm going to tell you that your legal counsel, if you don't use Fast Evictions, whether it be Brennan Law Firm, Dennis Block, whoever you use, 9 times out of 10, they also do collections. So you have that opportunity to collect. Drug labs, smoke, water, chemicals, California EPA used to clean up permanent damage, scrape the building. Yeah, it's no joke. Especially a drug lab. If it's a meth lab, it's bad. You gotta call, I want to say it's Cal OSHA, which is part of the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency. If you got a drug lab in a house, it's bad. You have to disclose to incoming tenants. You have to do all kinds of remediation work. It's a nightmare. A nightmare. My tenant got a 3 check from the city last year, but hasn't paid me. How should I pursue? Notify the tenant or the city immediately. And you can let the tenant know, notify the city, let them know. That way they could deem it as fraud and they'll go after her. It doesn't take go after, but they will go after. And then you can probably pursue, it depends. If it was during the COVID pandemic, I wouldn't necessarily do an eviction on monies that happened during the pandemic, but an eviction now outside of the pandemic. Otherwise, I think you have 1 year after the pandemic period is entered for the tenant to pay you that rent back. They have 1 year after the pandemic period has officially ended to pay you those monies back. So that's going to depend on what county the property is in, but I would notify the program immediately that you did not get paid so they can mark their records accordingly. I mean, I'm going to say this as nicely as I can, but if you misrepresent government funds, that could land you in a federal penitentiary. Just saying, okay? LA City, now health and safety issues, harassment of super seniors, senior abuse, only reason to evict besides now. Health and safety, you can evict for. Harassment, senior abuse, that's not the only reason you can evict in LA City. You can evict for a nuisance. The nuisance has to be bad. You need police report, code enforcement violation. Got to be bad. And I'm going to tell you, talk to your legal counsel in LA City before you do anything. I know of a case that is a little bit cattywampus, and I'll tell you the reason that it's cattywampus, my words, is it's actually really sad. We have city violations. So the landlord started an eviction to do the city violations because the tenant wouldn't comply, and there's city violations involved, okay? So the process and procedure for that is to do an eviction. They do an eviction, only the city wouldn't allow an eviction based on this nuisance. So now code enforcement is implementing criminal penalties against the landlord for not evicting. So there's going to be some case law come out of this somewhere, or some kind of determination made, because you can't not allow the landlord to evict and arrest the landlord for not doing anything about it. He's trying to evict, but the city won't let him. But the same city governmental agency is going to press charges against the landlord, but you also won't allow me to evict them. So that's what I mean about there's some cattywampusness going on in LA City. Okay. So what you want to do is call your attorney, be very thorough with your attorney about what your intentions are, and listen to what your attorney's telling you. If the answer is no, then the answer is no. You find a different attorney and see if they're willing to take it on. You understand? Don't play around in LA City is what I'm telling you. Talk to legal counsel, a landlord attorney, not the city's people, not the county's people, not Joe Blow. Call a landlord attorney that handles that area. It's the best thing I could tell you. Oh, hold on. I got to go back. Is it okay to charge? Oh, let me go way back. Where am I? Okay, there we are. G Jones, is it okay to charge late fees yet, or is it better to wait until after July 1st, San Bernardino County? In San Bernardino County and neighboring counties outside of LA County, you can start charging late fees as of October of 2021. So October of 2021, November, December, and then January of this year, February. So October 1st of 2021 is when you could start accruing late fees again. Okay. This is all smoke and pee. Oh, I thought you were going to say smoke and mirrors. It's smoke and pee. I've already ripped out all the flooring, the baseboards, spraying enzymes for the second time next week. I've heard I should not use kilts as it would seal the stink in. Now I'm debating tearing out the drywall, etc. I doubt this is covered by my insurance, but I can ask. My team is scrubbing the walls for a second time right now, but it may be a waste of time. Val, as nicely as I could say this, call a restoration company. They may know or have secrets or some kinds of chemical enzyme that they can spray that'll eliminate or neutralize the odor entirely. Call a restoration company and start asking them and see what they say. They may be able to help you much better than I could. And if you need a restoration company, I use PRC Restoration because they give Widget's Way members free estimates. I'd be more than happy to give you Yomara's cell phone number. Just let me know, okay?
Patty, I like to say that I did have problems with nicotine before, and I used a fogger or sprayer, odor eliminator made by ZEP, Z-E-P. I 2 or 3 cans, just took care of everything, and that was the end of it. So I don't know if that's legally acceptable to you or the other authorities, or what, I don't know.
If it eliminates the smell, then that's what worked, then we're okay with that.
And you know what, when you walk on the floor, it gets a little bit sticky, meaning that it does create a whole layer of protection all over inside the apartment.
Okay, so it's by ZEP and it's called an odor eliminator.
Yes, you can say odor eliminator by ZEP, Z-E-P. They have different kinds. They have, it's very effective, very, very effective. And you may have to do it twice, but it definitely works for me.
Okay, and this is why I love our format, is because we all brainstorm together and somebody will go, wait, I did this and that worked. So that's what I love about our group, is that we all try to help each other. And that is gold to me. I love that. Okay, what's the latest on eviction this week? Restraining order, what reasons, types of nuisances, code enforcement if they inspect. It all depends on what city, to be honest with you. Nuisances, code enforcement, restraining orders, very easy to do outside of LA County. Inside of LA County, they're just as difficult as they were last week. Okay. Your talking is a little choppy. I think someone's mic is on. I tried to fix that. If they disconnect smoke detectors, that's a health and safety violation. Okay, they can't disconnect the smoke detectors. They are required by law. And if they continue to tamper with them, they could be a nuisance. They're creating a nuisance for the landlord. Because let's face it, if there's a fire and people die in there and the fire department comes in and says there's no smoke detectors, who's that going to fall on? The landlord. So we need to make sure that we are encouraging them to use the smoke detectors. If they're taking them down, serve them a notice. They're in violation of their written contract. They are not to tamper with safety devices. I called the restoration company. They're 6 weeks out. Maybe it's because of the area. Call another restoration company. Just saying. Okay. A lot of other ones will give you a free assessment, free whatever, but you got to watch for them like ServPro. They'll want to call your insurance company. They'll want to, free estimate is a free estimate. Zip, zip. You know what I mean? And she'll add some ZEP products. Good. Drywall, absorbent wood, framing chemicals, and not AD absorb. LA City. LA City, it's still no relief yet in LA City. Nothing's changed. Okay. So you can on a nuisance, it's got to be bad. It's the best way I could describe it. Murder, death, suicide, something. It's got to be bad. That's what I mean by that. La La Land. Junk on all common walkways blocking my access. Give 3-day to cure or quit first. Yep. Absolutely, Teresa. Cure, quit, and then talk to your attorney to see if there's something else that you need to be doing or should be doing. All right, you guys. Oh, hang on. I got one more. The eviction cause, she will clean, fall off wagon and start to put junk back. I know. So you have to show a nuisance. So 3-day curable breach covenant, 24-hour notice. Then they clean everything up. The next time they start getting out of hand, second request at the top of a 3-day curable breach of covenant with new dates, times, and witnesses. So you're just adding that on as you go along. You're building a case based on cause. And sometimes it takes a while because you gotta wait for the tenant to mess up again. Okay. But that's how you handle that. With cause is you just wait for them to mess up again, and then it's the second request, and it's the old notice, but now it has new dates, times, and witnesses added to it of when this is happening again. 24-hour to enter, keep giving 3-day notice repeatedly. Did you get the Coke yesterday? I did get a Coke yesterday. Mwah, you guys are awesome. You have no idea, because I don't get to leave there. When I'm at a trade show, I'm lucky if I get to go to the bathroom. I'm just saying. So when you guys bring me drinks and presents and lunch and food and snacks, I just feel so loved, and it helps me so much because I can't leave. And thank you for bringing me a Coke, because I wasn't about to pay $6 for one at the event. No way. I'll serve the 3-day quit today. Does that mean I hire fast eviction on Tuesday? I don't have my calendar in front of me. If you serve the 3-day today, the day you serve it doesn't count. The following day is day 1, and it goes from there. Doesn't count weekends or holidays. Wait a minute. No. Hold on. I misspoke entirely. A 3-day quit is 3 days. You got 3 days. Weekends count, holidays count. If they can correct it, it doesn't count weekends and holidays. If they can't correct it, it's straight time. Oh no, Pampers. Right, Teresa? I'm telling you. Sometimes you're like, okay, I gotta go now. And they're like, you gotta go? What do you mean? You're standing in a booth. And I'm like, no, I really gotta go. Been here all day. It happens a lot. I get overheated there because I don't drink enough and stay hydrated. And then you try to eat really quickly, but people are standing in front of you. It's kind of rude. So I turned around, sat down on a box, and started eating a hot dog. And I literally ate a quarter of the hot dog, and it was so good. It was from the doghouse. Sent somebody over to get me real food. And I was eating it, and the gentleman next to me, because I had a tissue over my mouth while I was chewing, and my back turned to the crowd, because, I don't want to let you guys know I'm human and I need to eat. And he's like, are you okay? And I'm like, no, I just shook my head no. And he stood up like I was choking or something. And I finally said, no, I'm not okay. This is really good. And I'm trying to eat it and not show anybody that I'm eating. And then he wanted to know where I got that food. Go figure. I had good food. Memorial Day is Monday. But if you're doing a quit notice, if the tenant can fix it, this is how my brain remembers things, okay? If the tenant can fix it, you can't count weekends and holidays. If the tenant can't fix it, it's straight time. Example, straight time counts on a 3-day to quit because they can't fix it. Straight time counts on a 30-day notice. Straight time counts on a 60-day notice. We count weekends and holidays on a 30-day. We count weekends and holidays on a 60-day. We count weekends and holidays on a 3-day quit. On a curable pay rent or quit or a curable breach of covenant, we can't count weekends and holidays. If they can cure it, they get more time. If they can't cure it, they don't get more time. I hope that makes sense because that's how I remember. Proper service, what is a definition notice if you see her through the screen door and post it or have to touch you, touch tenant? You're not serving a lawsuit, you're serving a notice, okay? If you hi Sally, how are you doing today? I have this document for you. As soon as they take it out of your hand, they've been served. Okay, you don't have to say anything to them like you've been served unless you're trying to be a jerk. Okay, but remember, if you're trying to be a jerk and be that you've been served, they're going to fight you every step of the way. So buckle up, Buttercup. You're going to go for a ride. I get it. She doesn't have to touch it. You can tape it to the door and mail her a copy. She doesn't necessarily have to touch it. Okay, if the door's open and she's standing there talking to you, say, I'm posting this notice right here. Back up and take a picture of it. I get you, but how do I say this? If they don't personally want to be served, it's fine. You can tape it on the door right in front of them, take a picture, fill out your proof of service. It's fine. Don't overthink it is what I'm trying to say. It's not like you're serving them with a lawsuit and if the piece of paper touches their skin, they've been served. And that's the road you're going down is what a process server's guidelines are. You're not a process server. So don't go that deep into it, okay? I have the same problem of a tenant smoking marijuana, etc. I have common cement walls. I'm thinking what that CMU cement walls foundation cannot tear out. Okay, she won't touch it. She knows that. She doesn't have to, just do the post and mail. If she sees it on the door, is that proper service? But you have to mail it too, yes. It's post and mail, okay? So if you post it on the door, you're also required to mail a copy the same day with a first class stamp, unless you are terminating tenancy with a 30-day, 60-day, oh, we don't have a 30-day, 60-day, 90-day notice, then I would send it certified. Two things I always send certified is if I'm terminating tenancy or increasing rent. Nothing else I send certified unless my legal counsel says, Patty, you should probably send this one certified. Okay, no problem. Otherwise, they just get a first class stamp stuck on there and put in the mail the same day I serve it. And that whole thing of her trying to be shady of you're not touching me. Yeah, I haven't been served. Just post it on the door right in front of her. Yes, you were served. It's called post and mail. I've done some pretty interesting things to serve people before. Just saying. What if you can't make the same day at post office? Then don't serve it that day. Post and mail. She won't take out of mailbox. I want to evict. No income, damaging my property. She assaulted me. If she assaulted you, file a police report and serve her a 3-day quit based on the assault, based on a crime committed on the property. Okay, you can do that. I don't care if she doesn't take it out of the mailbox. It constitutes proper service if you post it in a conspicuous place, on her front door, on her front gate, where she enters the property, taped on her mailbox, where she gets her mail. Conspicuous place is what the law says. What about a proof of mailing receipt from the post office versus sending certified mail? That's another way that you can get proof that you mailed something. Absolutely. Found out certified is very cheap, like extra $4. Yes, certified mail is extra cheap. It's like $4 extra. But here's the problem. If you know it's a lawsuit, are you going to sign for it? Because I'm not. Paying attention? If it's not required, don't do it. I don't sign for certified mail. Same concept. Okay, they're not going to either. Unfortunately, too long ago on the assault, she threatened on video 2 months ago, and I'm going to assume this is in LA. Time limits for threats restraining order is within 1 to 2 months. If you wait over 30 to 45 days in LA County, you waive it. Yeah, you waive it. Hands down. Sorry, you got to act upon notification, you guys. Act upon notification. If you don't know, you don't have to act. But once it happens, you got to act. Let me see what else she did, Teresa. I'm going backwards to see if I got something else. Hold on. Smoking marijuana. Oh, no, that's not it. Yeah, I learned that from an attorney a long time ago, and it's really been helpful. As if it happens in LA City, if it's over 30 to 45 days, you waive it. You waive it. It doesn't exist anymore. It never happened. All right, you guys. Oh, I got one. I got a couple more coming. Hang on. My assistant who serves a notice gets verbally yelled at and she records it. Can I use that recording anywhere? It depends. You could turn around and say that your property manager is being harassed by the tenant and that is affecting the right to quiet enjoyment, and give them a 3-day curable breach of covenant. I've done it several times, letting them know we're not going to tolerate your BS. I had to print out in color, etc. They told me for RO, my printer didn't work. I had to print it out in color. They told me for a restraining order, my printer didn't work. I think that's what you're telling me. Because I read RO as restraining order. I could be wrong though. Could be rental ordinance. It's been a long day yesterday, you guys. I'm still tired. Don't tell everybody. I'm trying. All right. If nobody has anything else, I'm going to get off of here. If you have something else, put it in the chat really quickly. I thank all of you guys again for supporting us here at Widget's Way. Together as a team, we will conquer this industry in a rapid fashion. So I will see you guys next week on our Widgets Wednesdays with Widget. I love this format. I love that we're all doing that. Thank you, you guys. I really appreciate each and every one of you. And thank you for thinking of me and taking good care of me at the trade show. I love that. And I will do my best to return the favor and take as much good care of you as I possibly can. Have a wonderful week. If you need me for anything, you can hunt me down. If you're trying to get a hold of me over this weekend, you'd have a much better chance if you actually just went to the San Bernardino County Fair in Victorville. I will be there. So if you guys are headed up to the high desert this weekend, feel free to join me. Thanks, everybody. I love you all. You are my world. Thank you. I appreciate each and every one of you. Be safe. Have a safe week, a great Memorial Day weekend. And if you need me, just give me a ring. I'm here for you. Bye, guys.